ICJ Kenya is a membership organization, and each year we host our annual Judicial conference where we discuss issues of the rule of law, justice trends, and democratic governance in Kenya but also in Africa. So this year's conference is focusing on judicial accountability and its impact on human rights, looking at the trends in Africa. So we are gathered here. For this year, we're calling it the 2023 Annual Jurist Conference. And ICJ Kenya are members of the bar and the bench, and there are human rights defenders, the human rights activists that ascribe to the values of justice, democracy, and the rule of law. This morning, it's a mixed picture. On one hand, there are concerns by the jurists themselves that judicial independence is becoming a concern. There are conversations that judicial independence is an absolute right that is contained in our constitution. However, the feeling is that judicial independence is increasingly being compromised by justice sector actors themselves, but also within the judiciary. The functions and mechanisms provided by the Judicial Service Commission need to be relooked and need to be reviewed so that judicial accountability and independence in Kenya, as envisaged by the Constitution 2010, as we had agreed as Kenyans to defend judicial independence, is advanced and it is entrenched. So from the conversations, we can say there is concern, particularly on clawing back on judicial independence by executive but also other organs that are supposed to support and promote judicial independence. One of the remedies proposed during this morning's conversation is that we need to relook at the organs that are supposed to promote judicial independence, a complete overhaul and re-auditing of the Judicial Service Commission, the mechanisms they put in place to ensure accountability of judicial officers, because one of the mandates of the Judicial Service Commission is to ensure that judges and magistrates comply with judicial conduct and accountability mechanisms that have put in place. So one of the things is to strengthen that, but more importantly to spotlight what information are they giving to the public with complaints that members of the public have raised concerning judicial officers or judges that are considered to have conducted themselves not according to the standards of Judicial Code of Ethics. So that is one, a review. And number two, there's also request that the organs that are supposed to promote free access to information, other independent commissions, are supposed to be also strengthened, including adequate funding from the executive and parliament. The jurists are concerned that independent commissions are not getting adequate funding, therefore unable to dispense the mandate, constitutional mandate provided for them in the constitution, which includes safeguarding human rights, justice issues, and also governance issues.
We have talked about looking at the laws, what the laws provide. If we find there's a gap in how the laws are, then we should look at changing them. It's an active discussion we're having right now. We have talked about Judicial Service Commission. Some have complained about how they have dealt with complaints against some of the judges and magistrates. It's one of the things we're saying maybe we may need to relook at what processes and procedures do they follow. Can we improve them? Can we strengthen them so that we get proper remedies when complaints are brought? Then, of course, is to ensure that from the recruitment process, whoever is appointed to these positions of magistrates or judges, there's been a proper vetting and a thorough check before you appoint these persons in these positions. And as we go along, then there should be a process of always checking on how they perform so that we have some sort of performance reviews and gauge the kind of conduct, kind of decisions they make. And as a person who is in that position, we call upon them to uphold the Constitution and the rule of law.